Let's talk sustainability. I don't think we can deny it anymore, can we? Well, your house, your beefsteak and your car is the biggest polluter in the world. And in fact, the car itself has, well, previously it was a status symbol, but has moved its position to a pillory of shame in high developed societies. But Porsche, they really take the responsibility. Let me show you. This is actually a Porsche 928 Bonneville Edition scale. This is a tribute from the 1986 when this car, the 928 S4, broke the world speed record. This is a symbol of an old Porsche because almost 60% of all manufactured cars that Porsche has done is still in traffic. And I have a challenge for you. But first, let me show you this. This is Porsche Classic Communication Management System, and before I continue with this, I'm going to give you a challenge. How many car brands today are still manufacturing new equipment for models that are no longer in their range? Old cars. That is what Porsche do. With 60% still running in traffic, this is actually a product that will modernize it. Because if you look at it from a sustainable perspective, well, less consumption, less pollution, right? And if we could reuse our goods, then, well, we become more sustainable. I think that's the key here. And Porsche takes responsibility by making sure that we still can run our vintage vehicles. But law changes, right? So at least in Sweden, we are no longer allowed to hold your phone while driving. And therefore, Porsche take not only the sustainability under consideration, but my own safety as well, making this product. With this product, I can easily connect my phone to the car and use my old vintage 30-year-old car as a daily driver, or at least on my occasional, beautiful B-road drive. When my family calls me, I just push a button and I receive the phone call. Let me show you my Porsche 928. This is my Porsche 928 S4. Well, from the beginning when I was searching for a 928, I was looking at the early 80s to match my first Porsche experience. But I'm so happy that I ended up with an S4. The main reason is the Bonneville speed record. And the second of all, this is for me at least, the last development of this long series. And open the door, just listen to this. Only old Porsches could provide such a sound when you close the door. That's just how it is. That quality does not exist anymore. By the way, sorry for my sail speedboat behind me blocking the beautiful Swedish landscape, but well, the season is over for the sailing this year, and this is the good thing with sports car. The season is much longer in comparison to the boat life that I'm having parallel. Coming back to my Porsche 928, because this is a very important step. If you follow me on Instagram, you already know that I have been driving vintage 911s, but nothing is comparable to the 928. It was supposed to be a bucket list and just have it a couple of months and then ship it away, and still many years later it's still in my garage. And why is that, ladies and gentlemen? Because this is much more special than the 911, and you don't know anything about it until you have owned it. I've always thought, what is it with those 928 owners? They kind of get hysteric about their cars, and the main reason for that is that you have to experience to really understand the greatness of this vehicle, and that perhaps also is why it didn't have the same status as the 911 perhaps has. I believe that will change over time, believe me, and remember that I said that. This car is as good if you buy a brand new Volvo or a Volkswagen or, well, basically any new vehicle. It's comfortable, it's quiet, it has a sportiness to it. Well, no, it's not a GT car by any mean, but it is a beautiful car. When I was in between cars this year, I was waiting for my Toyota GR Yaris. This was my daily driver, and believe me, open the door into this beautiful cabin, still modern. Pretty much if you cheese with your eyes, it will actually feels like you are in a Panamera. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is, as we all know, my garage. Just a tip from one petrol head to another: don't make this electric, because then people start to use the garage. If you have a manual door, you will actually get your garage for yourself. Just a tip. Anyway, this is my garage. This is where I've been doing hundreds of things, service my vehicles. You all know that I have modified my Cayman T, I have modified my Spider, I even took my boring wife's car, BMW X-Drive 520D, and changed the air suspension. But I've been doing some thinking, and sorry for bragging, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Porsche center, or should I say center of excellence. I get a lot of questions, mechanical and technical, regarding Porsche. Some people might even say I have a very high knowledge in this area.
But this is Marcus, and in comparison, my knowledge is just a shadow of his. Therefore, having your precious rolling into a Porsche center could be the best thing for her. Fitting Porsche Classic communication management is a straightforward operation, but in my case, hell started immediately, and this is perhaps one good reason to use a Porsche center. We found an amplifier and bad wiring, spending an additional 3 hours restoring my car to stock. Workshop manual using my V8 engine as a table, making sure the faults of the previous owner was corrected. Decide where to fit the connection unit for AUX, USB and phone. When stock, you have the standard ISO connection, which makes the installation easy. Fit the GPS antenna flat and ensure the microphone is fitted behind the steering wheel to get optimal performance. Then plug all cables. DAB Plus and FM radio unit, stock radio antenna, DAB unit to PCCM, FM and DAB, GPS antenna, USB ports and microphone, power and speakers. Start the stereo to make sure everything works, and then pull the PCCM in place. Hide the DAB unit behind the dashboard, do the last wiring, secure the USB ports interface. Finally, restore the interior and install the Porsche navigation software.
Here we are then. My Porsche 928 S4 has become modern, just jumping into my car and the phone connects. But before you leave your car at Porsche Center, perhaps it could be a good advice to invest an hour to look through your car to find out that you might have a lot of trash in the car that your previous owner has put in over the years. I was so disappointed, but it took us several hours to restore my car to stock again, because remember, when the car is stock, this is actually just a plug and play. Remove the old unit, plug in the PCCM, and then off you go. I'm just gonna go quickly through the menus, and not gonna do a full tutorial of this, but a few first impression of this unit. First of all, on the top right corner I have tuner, and I must admit, DAB Plus radio that comes with this is so superb. The quality of the sound increases, and remember, the sound actually was improved just by changing the unit. You don't necessarily need to change the speakers, etc., because the amplifier inside the unit, thumbs up, really good improvement. Also, I must say the responsiveness on the screen is much better than you will find in a brand new Porsche today. I don't understand why Porsche cannot put in some proper PCM system into the new cars, and perhaps that is a choice, to buy a new Porsche and then put the old PCCM system in it. Next is the media. So we have several media inputs into the PCCM. You have the AUX, you have the USB, you have Apple CarPlay that I will come back to. Then obviously they have the SD card that I'm playing right now. So I just put MP3 files from a previous video, the 992 GT3 review, and listening to that. Underneath that you have the home button. It just puts you back to the main menu, and underneath there you have the SD card that you store. Actually, that follows within the package. That's where I've stored all my songs. And remember, I'm not sure why you would do that when you have DAB Plus and you have music on your phone, but anyway, it really gives you a really good quality of the sound. Then obviously you have the navigation and disclaimer, both the PCCM and the navigation system was given to me by Porsche, but believe me when I say this is a proper navigation. I actually doesn't use the Google Maps as much as I thought I would do, because this navigation system that Porsche provides is really good. Then obviously we have the phone, and the phone works like all PCCM system. It doesn't change anything. You can synchronize up to 5,000 connection. I currently have about 3,700 numbers in my phone, and it's synchronized perfectly. And then obviously I just have a back button to come back if I am in settings, etc., and wants to go backwards. One highlight I want to do is if I go back, I go to home, I go to settings, and then I have time synchronization, and that's very important. Why is that very important? Well, obviously because this car is not used every day, which means I turn off the battery from sometimes, and when I start to drive the vehicle, the time is synchronized by itself. Oof, what a great features that should have been stock on all the Porsches, because my 992 Spider, for an example, I stored it over the winter and I started up, and I have to reinstall everything. With this synchronization, it works so good. If I push the back button, obviously I will go back in the menu, home, going back. It's very intuitive, so to speak. When standing still, I can obviously just start up my PCM system without turning on the ignition. And the storage lockage actually become useful, but now I can store my phone underneath it, since I have all the access I need on my PCCM system. Oh, it starts directly now playing from the SD card. But I'm going to pause that, and I'm going to take my cable and connect it to my phone. Make sure it's unlocked, because if it is unlocked, it will connect to, ta-da, Apple CarPlay. And it doesn't change anything from any other car with Apple CarPlay. The only thing is that, well, you have the intuitive connections that you need. And again, the screen is good enough in size to navigate when you're driving on this size. I am surprised, because when you look at it the first time, you would probably think that, okay, this is a game changer where I will not be able to use the touchscreen, but that is not true. It is extremely easy to use Apple CarPlay, use the features that it has, for example, Easy Park, as I have, that where I easily can pay. I'm not sure if that is common all over the world, but in Sweden, when we have parked our car, we hit the app and we pay for our parking. We don't have to get out of the car if it is a rainy day. Everything is connected. In Sweden, it's called Easy Park, and obviously there are some competitor in addition. Nevertheless, perfect. But now something very interesting happens when I have connected to the Apple CarPlay. The shortcuts is still available. We all know, if you follow me, that I'm not so fond of touchscreen. And if I push nav, well, in this point, when I have connected to Apple CarPlay, it will go to my Google Maps instead of Porsche's or TomTom's navigation. Remember what I said. I am very satisfied with the result that the Porsche provides with the maps. I don't think the additional CarPlay and Google Maps is needed, but nevertheless, here it is. It works perfectly. Also, when I push phone, well, I will enter the phone in Apple CarPlay. So it feels so great to have these shortcuts already in place. If I push home, well, then I will go back outside the Apple CarPlay to the Porsche navigation. As I've said, it's very intuitive, it's very easy to navigate, it's very easy to switch between Apple CarPlay and the interface in the Porsche. The settings are not many to discuss. Most important is the time synchronization. One last thing, you can always navigate with the wheels on the left and right side. So if I, for example, I'm not sure, key color, for example, want to change them from amber to white, bang, it's done. I don't have to use the touchscreen, even though if I go home and go to Apple CarPlay, I can still navigate with the wheels. Also, the wheels could be changed to a classic design with some chromish details on it. My car does not have any chrome inside, so I selected the black one. Just pull them out and you can easily just put the chromish look-alike. I think that's better on early 911s, I believe. Whew. I cannot, stress enough how this has improved my overall experience of my old vintage Porsche 928 S4. Perhaps sustainability is not about electrification, using old goods over and over again for more than 30 years, and modernize it perhaps is one way forward into the future. One thing is for sure, the implementation of the PCCM system to my vintage vehicle made it modern.